Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Stierle and Tom Hazard, to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard along with your host Bill Stierle. And Bill, I want to pick up a little bit from where we left off last time, talking about really the strength of collaboration and how we can try to really change the nature of what happens in these daily coronavirus briefings / stump speeches now for the commander-in-chief. What do you think about that?
It's disheartening. It's disheartening because the need for truth gets lost if it's not a collaborative truth. If two people aren't trying to find truth, one person's trying to prove truth and one person is trying to win on their perspective of truth. So they're very much, as you and I talked about in the past, it's a very push style narrative. It's a very survival of the fittest style narrative of, I am going to win and I'm going to stay until I get the last word. And I am not going to consider what you're saying. And I am most certainly not going to use accuracy in language. Because one of the things that I think I would like people to get a hold of regarding truth is that Trump is not accurate with his language. He's exaggeratory / expansive with his language. And so words like all and never and absolute commander and these kinds of, he's not really doing himself any favors, but he doesn't know that because he's a marketing and sales person. He's a branding type person. He's not a implementer. He's not a service oriented person. So he's not going to have that language, Tom. So, and so he has to fight, because that's the only thing he has.
Yeah, I think collaboration is like a foreign concept to him, or a weak concept to him.
That's right too.
And because if you look at any of these daily briefings, this is a serious power over narrative that goes on here, and it's very easy to see truth get trampled on here.
And another thing, just to bring up another example of this, is that if I'm looking to meet my need for respect, then I am going to make a statement that's going to align myself right next to other respectful people. So, and he actually did that in one of the press conferences. He said he started listing a name of CEOs that he was going to be speaking with later. But he just kept going down all these different CEOs. First, he started with all the bank people. Then he started reading, that the CEO of Chick-fil-A, the CEO of a Burger King, the CEO of Pepsi. And eventually it was going like, are we having a discussion about COVID? Why are we talking about those folks now? And the topic moved from the financial piece, because he started with the banks, and then all of a sudden it turned into the jobs piece / reopen the country piece, which is a part of the story narrative that they're trying to get in front of, which is that they will tend not to do that. The public knows, and they start losing energy as soon as they see that you put the same shiny lure in front of them, and that's why, fishing lure companies have to come up with new fishing lures, because the old fishing lures don't work as well and they can't trick the fish as much. I mean, you got to make a new lure, shinier, bells and whistles, whatever you need. And then the fish will eventually not believe it's true. So, I mean, that's called a collaborative experience. Something new, and then it becomes old and you can't use it anymore. you know?
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
it's
and
weird.
one of the things that seems painfully obvious to me, at least from my perspective, is that we are in a global health crisis. The entire world, there's no country that's really going to be spared from this.
Right.
So more and all Americans are, feeling vulnerable, isolated. I mean, there's many different things I'm sure they're all feeling, but there is an overwhelming sense that this is happening to everyone, whether you're actually ill or not, or you've lost a loved one due to, COVID-19 or not. And it's so obvious that there's this we aspect, this we experience, that it's all of us. This is not an individual. It's not just on the news, somebody distant and far away. This is coming up to all of our front doors in one way or another. And these daily coronavirus press briefings are, there's not a sense of we in there.
Right. The we narrative. It's imagine what it would be like if there was a unified experience rather than a me experience. The unified experience is handing things off, that each expert is giving a piece of message that is valuable, rather than here's a respectful person standing behind me, that because I'm going to glean respect off of that person by keeping them on stage. He's done that many times. He's put Chris Christie behind him. As long as the person has enough respect, and he'll drain the respect off of him. They drain the respect. He drains the respect off of them, because eventually, as the news media is doing, is like, why is Fauci standing behind him in the cold for 2 hours? Why is he doing that? And the truth is because Trump is meeting his need for respect by keeping him there. It's a different kind of social proof.
Well,
I know
yeah,
I just
no, I
made a
think
weird.
that I understand. Yeah, social proof is, well, I don't know if is it social proof, or is it associative proof?
Associative proof. But right. Well, the society pushes respect. If you hang around a bunch of if you hang around a bunch of movie stars, if you take pictures, Tom, standing next of different celebrities, your need for respect goes up.
I
They
agree.
think,
Yeah, you think
what
you're
what is Tom doing to hang around with these famous people?
right. And I would think in the eyes of a lot of people, you're sort of, in air quotes here, street cred goes up, right?
Right. Right. So part of the daily briefings is, I'm in charge of this thing, survival of the fittest. I am fighting for you. That's why I'm standing here for 2 hours. I'm fighting for you. And he believes it. That's another challenge, is that his belief structure is that all I got to do is be in front of people and talk to them, and they will get me what I want. How do we know this to be true? He has a winning formula. He's 70 plus years on this one.
Right.
He has this. He has the evidence that all he's got to do is stand there and allow things like powerful, amazing, extraordinary, wonderful job, all those adjectives come out of his mouth and associated to himself. Meanwhile, the collaboration, the cooperation is not there.
Well, and honestly, the journalists in the press corps who are in the room for these briefings are not doing themselves, or I think the rest of us, citizens, any favors most of the time, because they engage in nothing but fact checking, asking questions to try and get an answer they know they're not going to get. And it becomes very combative with the president in this power over narrative, where he labels and diagnoses them as fake news and, terrible journalists and, all this stuff. I mean, how long is the press corps going to take this before they realize their approach is not working?
Yeah, I feel sad about this and disheartened about this, is that they don't have the awareness or the skill to get there. As somebody that can stand in front of a room of 250 screaming people and be able to reduce the conflict inside the room and get them to be collaborative, in a very short amount of time, somewhere between 17 and 23 minutes, I'll have everybody working together. It's like, how do you do that? And a big part of this truth narrative that we're working on here is that we've got to get the concept of mutual respect to show back up. Can I respect Mitch McConnell's point of view? Can I see what he's going for and still be able to enlist him to do something on my behalf? That's a tough stretch.
It is a tough stretch.
Because his mindset is, all I got to do is keep doing it this way, and I'm going to get my way as well as the people that are funding me their way.
Well, so Bill, let's say though you really don't have respect for Mitch McConnell, or you're an individual that really doesn't have respect for President Trump. Can't you still empathize with them to the point where they at least believe you're showing them respect, or that they're being heard, and then you actually can get to truth more easily that way?
Yeah, you can. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to agree, but they will be less volatile and less hostile. They'll actually push some things in your direction just to make sure they can get and have the votes that they need, or be able to score points because they can trout you out as somebody that that they've been able to work with. So, it's challenging when a few people's belief structure, whether it's people that can pay for it, people that are wealthy enough to pay for influence, or people that are in the position of the decision making, and they're saying, no, I'm not doing this because my people don't want that, and that's really hard, because it's an exclusionary. The people that, and Darwin said this best at the end of his book, one of his books, has said, I've come to realize that it's not survival of the fittest that makes the difference. It's species co-evolving together that engages the process of evolutionary change. Now you got to think how weird that is that engaging the process of evolutionary change. Well, that is a balance between the things that other animals are doing and other plants are doing, and the things that we're doing as human beings as a part of that bigger system to co-evolve together. Science has helped us with the co-evolving, because we've been able to help crops change faster by genetic manipulation. We've been changing crops for years, but we've been doing it now from the inside out. Now, there's certain species and certain animals that haven't done so well because we haven't found them as valuable, but that's problematic. Yep. So,
well, but that still sounds a little bit like cooperation and collaboration. That, what you were saying there about co-evolving together.
That's right. Yeah. So co-evolving together with Republicans would be saying, here's what fiscal responsibility looks like. Here's how to infuse capitalism to make capitalism work. But here's what the societal safety nets are in order to, take the the overwhelm, the panic, and as one TED talk I watched from this billionaire person, he goes, if we don't cut it out, the pitchforks are going to be at the gates of our gated community, just like they were in whatever 17th century France. It's like, they're coming. If you keep doing it this way, they're coming. And he was talking to his fellow billionaire people. He goes like, you can't keep doing it this way because they're coming. I mean, might not happen in my lifetime or yours, but next, if we keep going this way, this will not end well for our society, and not end well for the future of America.
Well, and there's
Straight
this
up.
tension, it seems. There's this struggle constantly, I think, between we narratives and we and me narratives, and maybe not just narratives, but realities of life. I mean, we're all in this together, and if we don't cooperate and work together, a lot more people are going to get sick and die. But we all also have a need to try to keep ourselves as individuals safe, to try to advance our families, our little family unit in our home forward. And that's sort of a me narrative, or a lesser we. So
Yeah.
there's this constant struggle, but it's just striking to me how much these daily coronavirus briefings that are supposed to be providing Americans much needed information end up being just all about me, Mr. President, and the job that I'm doing, and the job that my administration is doing. And nobody could have seen this coming. I mean, it's all me, right?
Yeah, I mean, we love freedom. Americans love freedom. We like independence. We want to be able to do whatever we want, say whatever we want. Our individual rights things. I mean, even with the march on the State Department in Michigan. I mean, it wasn't a tremendously large march, but there's a lot of people there going like, I'm going out because I don't want anybody to stop me from getting my hair cut. I mean, and colored and stuff. I don't want to go out because this, and there was like a Trump parade there. Now, the need for freedom, the need for independence are valuable needs. They can go to a certain length, and then there is the balance of the pushback. Even the president has trouble with this concept. Is it states' rights, or am I the ultimate commander in chief? A week ago, it was states' rights. The states are in charge of this. We're in the back. We're the backup. I thought you guys were backups. No. Whatever I say goes. But
isn't that interesting how that flipped in like a week's time, where it's like, well, it's up to the states if they're gonna,
they got to arm themselves.
They're gonna force stay-at-home rules or not, or have stay-at-home rules or not. That's up to the states. And then when it comes to opening up the economy, no, that's my decision.
That's my decision. And the weird part about it, and what Trump doesn't get and doesn't have any awareness about, you figure he would, but because his success rate is not really great on this one, that the people rebel by not following him anymore. The people rebel by not buying his product anymore. What he doesn't realize, all the times he had a bankruptcy, all the bankruptcies, is because of the same thing. Is that, Tom, I am not going out until I have trust with somebody that I trust, not somebody that I don't trust. He can stand and say, go back to work, and I'm not. And there's many Americans, especially because the safekeeping brain is in the position that it's in, that they're locking down and they're not going. Now, what the journalists need to work on at this moment, and I think the next episode we really need to talk about the new type of journalism that needs to take place, is what the journalists, I would request the journalists do, is how to, and one of them did it on one of the meetings, but didn't push it, didn't ask it in a way that was effective, how do you instill confidence in the people that are staying at home when there's no contact tracing and there is not enough tests around? How do you give them trust to go back to work when we're in this experience? How do you do that? Now, you can start floating ideas, as Gavin Newsom did. He said, well, you might go to a restaurant and you might be wearing masks and the waiter might be wearing masks and the menus will be all disposable. And I'm thinking, why don't you guys just get the testing done? And your temperature is going to be taken when you arrive inside the restaurant.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody there. And what's that going to be like? It's like, who wants to go there? You see what I mean? It's like there is a social disconnect to, is there a germ around or not a germ around? Well, we don't know. So we're going to scare the crap out of it. So we're going to take your temperature. We're going to make sure that all of a sudden, like that level is going on. So it's really a really unsettling. And the journalists have got to do a better job of being empathetic and compassionate for Trump's optimistic statements and be ready for him to walk it back and give him an out. Yeah, President, I know that you were being optimistic about the 15th. Remember when you were being optimistic about people going back to church? Yeah, and you really like the economy to be open up on the 1st, but you're really not sure, but you really just want to be very positive about the 1st of May. Oh, yes, he says. You really want to be a cheerleader and lead us forward and have us go back to work so that so the economy gets going. Is that right? Oh, yes. See, all those things are easy for him to say yes to. And saying, okay, Mr. President, I see that you're really working the issue here and you're really being optimistic. Is it okay if I ask a couple of technical medical questions for a moment? Now, what you just did is give opportunity for Fauci to come up. Now all of a sudden, Trump gets off the stage and Fauci comes up because you said, President, I have a question about the way the virus works. Is it okay if I could talk to Dr. Fauci on this? Now, if Trump says no, the game has changed for Trump. So Trump actually has to say yes as a pattern of, yes, this is what I'm doing. Yes, this is my role. Thank you for acknowledging me for being a cheerleader and being optimistic. And then you say, I have a technical question regarding how the virus works. Now you get the president off the stage. He now lets the dancer or the singer come up.
Well, and it seems now then what the journalist would have done, of course, if the journalist were Bill Stierle, is to say, is really to hijack truth from the president in his own briefing.
That's right.
To get it back on track to real truth.
That's right. That's right. See, stop trying to fight to try to get truth from the person that's not going to give it to you. At the same time, you also don't want to pin Fauci against Trump, which some of the reporters have done.
That gets tricky, doesn't it?
And that gets tricky. So you want to get the truth out of him, knowing that he has certain limitations too. So notice I'm in a collaborative question asking narrative. Yeah.
All right. Well, I like that, Bill. That'll be fun next time to go into that new level of journalism that's needed. I think.
It's an impactful questioning of to pursue truth rather than the inquiry that they're doing.
All right, Bill.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right. Next time.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth Podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.